Hey guys, tonight we venture into a world where the echoes of clashing swords and whispered secrets resonate through the winds of time. Imagine for a moment the soft chatter of distant voices, the hush of draped curtains, and a sky filled with stars that seemed closer than the next horizon. We're going to step into the sandals of a young boy named Akbar, a child who wasn't born into the typical splendor of palace walls, but rather in the uncertainty of exile. He wasn't cradled by the silence of regal corridors, but was once rather hilariously dropped from a wall by his nurse. Picture that, tumbling from an unexpected height, yet destined to one day hold the reins of a vast subcontinent. You probably won't survive this ourselves, but fortunately for Akbar, resilience ran in his veins. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Share your location and the time you've decided to join me. And let's connect across the world as we listen. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The night closes in softly around you as if cradling you in the gentle folds of its embrace. Picture a modest dwelling amidst shifting landscapes, perhaps slightly unfamiliar for a future emperor. This is where you first open your eyes, a place far removed from ornate palaces and the hustle of courtiers. You are born into exile, finding solace in the simplicity and resilience that forge the backbone of forgotten stories and legendary beginnings. As a child, you are light as a feather, bouncing with the energy of one too young to be contained. Your nurse, devoted yet perhaps slightly preoccupied, holds you as you peer over a low wall. You wonder what the world looks like from that precarious height. She lets go for just a second, and with a quick intake of breath, down you go. You somersault through the air, landing with a thud, as soft laughter and shocked gasps mix together in a soundtrack that only life beyond palatial pomp could compose. This tumble from your early days becomes a story threaded through time, one that historians might recount with both bewilderment and admiration. Some quibble over how high the wall really was, but to a child, such details are as fleeting as their small footprints in the sand. What's important is the lesson of resilience, a foreshadowing of the fortitude that will define your future empire's sovereign. Historians still debate whether the fall was a mere accident or cleverly spun misfortune saved by destiny's gentle hand. Either way, it becomes a tale that would be recounted long after the dust settled under sandal-clad feet. You, the boy who tumbled, would emerge from the cloud of uncertainty unbroken, standing with a wide smile as you dusted off the earth like a badge of honor. Survival, after all, is about the story you choose to tell, and the one we celebrate tonight picked momentum from the moment your nurse's hands faltered. You had unknowingly begun your journey on the path of a ruler, learning the first and perhaps most important lesson of leadership, that a stumble could become a stepping stone if you willed it so. In the safety beyond the wall, away from the whispers of 1,000 nights, you continue to grow, sprouting like wild flowers amidst unchecked pastures. Every whispered tale, every shadowed corner seems to be a small universe of secrets waiting for you to uncover. There's always something unspoken in the air, a murmur of hidden adventure that beckons ever so softly. And so, you wander, little Akbar, with an imagination as vast and uncharted as the lands you will one day call your own. While the stars blink like 1,000 watchful eyes from above, you tread the ground with wide-eyed wonder, a stranger yet untouched by the burdens of empire and expectations. There's a world waiting still unknown and vast beyond the confines of your early exiles, filled with the promise of stories yet to unfold. In the distance beyond the farthest whisper of wind, the world is already preparing for you. The universe moves in the quiet tick of the cosmos, inexorably drawing you toward a destiny grander than this small moment at the edge of an old and dusty wall. With each passing day, the echoes of your fall grow quieter, replaced by the steady rhythm of steps as you forge onward your path, unknowingly set toward greatness. The story of the boy who tumbled is merely the beginning, and it's within this quiet, gentle space, under a sky filled with stars, that your journey takes root. Barely a teenager, your wide eyes scan the ornate hall, and you can't help but feel caught between amazement and disbelief. You're Akbar, the new emperor, but still too young for even a wisp of a beard. The grandeur of the Mughal court surrounds you. Gold and silk drape from every nook, and you can smell the faint aroma of incense that clings to every fabric. You feel the eyes of courtiers and military generals on you, each one measuring this boy who inherited an empire that stretches far beyond sight. Historians often speak of your surprising ascension, Akbar, especially because you bear the weight of an empire at an age when others are just discovering their hobbies. They marvel at how a child could handle the intricacies and challenges of such a vast dominion, working alongside advisors skilled in arts you haven't even heard of yet. Yet there you stand, an icon of the Mughal dynasty, without a single hair on your chin to match your power. The story begins not with a grand entrance, but a quiet reflection of a teen in a world forged by traditions and legends. The walls have witnessed tales older than you, and secrets whispered as the glow from lanterns dims to dusk. Your father Humayun had passed away, leaving the throne to you, a role you were born into yet felt unprepared to fulfill. One surprising detail catches your attention as you navigate this sea of responsibilities. The leopard keeper, a former monk, sits silently in the corner. His presence is unexpected. Amidst the finery and silk, a reminder that this empire, like the court itself, is a tapestry woven from countless fates and histories. No one quite knows how or why he came to be here, but his eyes, serene and knowing, seem to study you too, like an ancient sage weighing the potential within. As you take your seat, there is a sense of somber expectation that even you can feel. The great hall quiets. A symphony of curiosity and whispers ebbs into silence. You know the momentary quiet precedes discussions that will shape the empire's future, yet you cannot help but feel like a child playing a role, a sentiment both unfamiliar and real. Consider the historians, some who debate whether the weight on your young shoulders was more a curse or a blessing. And you, young Akbar, embody this uncertain legacy, as yet unaware of the monumental tasks ahead. The air is heavy with what will be the choices, the battles, the alliances, all soon just stories in quiet corners. Now imagine amid all this a thought flits across your mind, a thought of laughter with friends, games played at dusk, carefree and innocent. But you are here, holding court, as the future unfurls itself by candlelight, interwoven with the shadows of history past. Your reign, you hope, will rise above those shadows, maybe not easing their depth, but casting new light where only dark has been. So, dear listener, you may picture yourself at the turning point of Akbar's journey, a journey in which you, like Akbar, hold more than you know within you. The past and the present stand side by side, nodding in agreement, as if they understand something you have yet to learn. And in this timeless empire, you too may find something of yourself, peaceful and still, as the night wraps the world in its quiet embrace. In these moments, remember that being emperor isn't just triumph over lands or people, it's the quiet conquests within that truly define leadership. You imagine yourself standing amidst a scene from centuries ago, where the vibrant hues of history come alive around you. The rhythmic thud of hooves resonates through the dusty air, mixing with the commanding roars of majestic war elephants and the determined shouts of warriors. You find yourself at the heart of an army, moving with a purpose, a collective force, driven by the will of one man, Emperor Akbar. Akbar is a figure who captures your attention not with speeches carved out of gilded words, but through actions that defy the ordinary. In this time and place, he is far more than just a ruler upon a throne. He is a dynamic presence that shapes the very air around him. Historians still debate whether his charisma alone could turn the tide of battle, or if it was solely his fearless approach to leadership that held such power. Much like a stalwart general of legend, Akbar doesn't simply command from the rear. You see him there mounted decisively upon a colossal elephant. The sight is both awe-inspiring and more than a little unnerving. Let's be honest, facing down the wrath of an elephant in full armor might be one historical encounter you probably wouldn't survive. Yet there's a subtle genius in Akbar's choice of mount. Elephants known for their courage under pressure and ability to trample through the chaos of battle mirror his own indomitable spirit. You move alongside the troops, feeling the desert sand shift beneath your feet. The sun is intense, painting the landscape with relentless heat, but it doesn't diminish the resolve of those around you. Instead, it casts everything in a golden wash, making the dust rise like a shimmering haze. This environment, though harsh, becomes a stage for Akbar's bold campaigns. In one such campaign, you find yourself enveloped by the arid expanse as Akbar leads his soldiers across the unforgiving desert lands. These expeditions, marked by their audacity, are designed not just to expand the empire's reach, but to solidify the unity of diverse cultures within it. His strategy is not only about conquest, it involves understanding and embracing the variances in the people he encounters. Some say that by offering respect and a place within his diverse court, he gained allies rather than enemies. A curious fact emerges as you think about Akbar's court, a blend of cultures and religions, where discussions of art, music, and philosophy intertwine with political strategy. It is said that Akbar, despite his focus on the battlefield, was deeply interested in spiritual and philosophical teachings, placing great value on dialogues that could bridge divides. An eccentric occurrence in his life was his experiment in religious synthesis called the Din-i-Ilahi. Yet this concept was both praised for its inclusive ideals and critiqued for being too utopian to sustain. Amidst the clamor of battles and campaigns, there's a subtle acknowledgement of these principles across the plains, evident in the amicable way you see troops from various regions working side by side. This coming together of different people is astonishing in an era when borders often meant barriers. Akbar's penchant for unexpected personal involvement is clear as you observe him in battle. Unlike typical rulers who command from a distance, Akbar charges into the thick of things, his hands steering the course of events directly. Whether it's the rush of cavalry or the intimidating presence of elephants, he is in the middle of it all. The legends of his bravery are numerous, though it's uncertain if the tales grew with retelling, or if Akbar himself encouraged the embellishments for morale and unity. As you reflect on this scene with its pulsating momentum, woven with the fabric of reality and legend, you begin to understand the legacy Akbar left behind. His reputation wasn't just built on military victories. It was cemented in the foundational actions that encouraged a unity over a vast and varied land. His battles were not just those of steel and strategy, but also of vision and integration. You feel the wind begin to cool a whisper against the skin that suggests a change in season, or perhaps the end of another day in this historical journey. The rhythmic swaying of the elephants dissipates, giving way to the gentle lull of history, guiding you toward a softer, quieter evening. The battles of the past slowly fade, leaving behind the profound truth that amid the chaos of conquest and the search for power, our shared human experience remains the most compelling story of all. As the narrative gently unfurls its final threads, the pace slows like a lullaby, rocking its way into the folds of a tranquil night. Each remaining moment drifts softly like leaves upon a still pond until the stream of history becomes a whisper. Rest assured that in the tapestry of time, every story's end gives rise to another beginning, weaving through our dreams like a gentle, reassuring promise of continuity, where history and imagination peacefully converge into rest. Your footsteps echo softly against the red sandstone as you wander through the corridors of Fatehpur, Sikri. It's an extraordinary place, and as you glance around, it's easy to see why it feels more like a poem than just a collection of buildings. The city was the brainchild of the Mughal Emperor Akbar, who with grand ambition and boundless creativity built this entire city from scratch. Imagine that, creating an entire city with your own imagination as the blueprint. You walk through airy courtyards that seem to invite the breeze to bring tales of ancient times, where limestone floors cool your feet gently, just like they've cooled countless others over the centuries. Constructed in the late 16th century, Fatehpur Sikri was meant to serve as the new capital of the Mughal Empire. The city stood out with its remarkable blend of Hindu and Islamic architectural styles, a testimony to Akbar's vision of religious harmony and cultural synthesis. He was a remarkable figure, a beacon of tolerance in a time when such perspective was rare. And the historians, well, they're still debating whether Akbar's decision to leave the city was due to a water shortage or some unexplained whim. Either way, the result was this red sandstone masterpiece standing strong for you to marvel at centuries later. Now, as you stroll around, you find a particular courtyard that draws your attention. It's practically deserted with only the whispering winds and distant birds to keep you company. The space feels alive. You might say it's breathing with walls that have silently observed and kept stories of bygone days when the emperor himself might have held court here. Can you imagine the bustling life it once held? Merchants with their vibrant wares, travelers sharing stories from faraway lands, and the regal stature of Empress Jodha Bai elegantly moving through these very halls. Speaking of which, did you know that throughout these grand halls, stories of Akbar's court are filled with moments of surprising humanity and humor? One such tale claims that the emperor would occasionally disguise himself and roam the city streets, listening to the issues of the common folk firsthand. You're left to wonder if maybe, just maybe, he passed through this very courtyard, concealed from recognition, but observing with sharp, thoughtful eyes. The city's innovative design also reflects Akbar's remarkable foresight. He opted for red sandstone not just for its striking beauty, but also for its durability. The color transforms with the sun's rise and fall, painting different moods onto the walls as the day passes. As you explore deeper, you find intricate stone carvings that tell their own stories, peacocks that seem almost ready to dance off the walls, flowers that whisper legends, and geometric patterns that speak of infinite time loops. Your exploration takes you through the Diwani Khas, the hall of private audience, where Akbar would confer with his most trustworthy advisors. It's a marvel of architecture, a circular pillar at the center with a roof that branches out like the petals of a lotus. This room supposedly hosted some of the most important decisions of the empire. One unusual detail many aren't aware of is the acoustic design of this hall. The emperor's voice could be heard clearly, even in hushed tones, thanks to the clever use of the room's stone surfaces. As dusk begins to settle, the air becomes cooler and the shadows longer. Fatehpur Sikri starts to transform, just as it has countless evenings before. You pause, taking in the scene, a once busy city, now part of history's calmer tapestry, offering you serenity and an invitation to reflect on the profound unity of its art and culture. It's fascinating to consider how a now relatively quiet site once hummed with the activities of an empire. You feel a connection with those past lives, joined by shared humanity, across time wondering about their dreams and legacies. Slowly, the firelight glow of the red sandstone softens, mirroring the warmth inside your heart, brought about by this journey into the echoes of history. The courtyards, now lit by the subtle glow of the evening sky, begin to fade into the realm of dreams, carrying with them stories yet to be fully uncovered. A perfect blend of a poem and a palace, leaving you with a gentle reminder of life's intricate and enduring beauty. You find yourself amidst the grandeur of the Mughal Empire at a time when diversity and dialogue flourished under the benevolent gaze of Emperor Akbar. Akbar's court was a vibrant tapestry of cultures and creeds where Hindus, Muslims, Jains, Christians, and even Portuguese Jesuits gathered, each speaking their own languages, yet uniting in the common pursuit of wisdom and understanding. You wander through Akbar's opulent palace, the intricate designs on the walls, whispering the stories of 1,000 voices past. The court bustles around you, a cacophony of tongues, each distinct yet somehow harmonious in their diversity. In the center of this vibrant swirl stands Akbar himself, a figure of calm authority, listening intently to each speaker, his presence a beacon for those who sought a better world through dialogue and shared knowledge. The emperor's vision was a harmonious coexistence where diversity was not only accepted but celebrated. Walking through this lively scene, you might feel a touch out of place, like you're on an alien planet with no universal translator. Yet that's part of the magic here. Everyone is from somewhere else, each with their own tales and traditions. Historians still debate whether this melting pot of cultures was more a result of Akbar's genuine belief in faith and tolerance, or a brilliant political strategy. Regardless, Akbar's court was a place from which new ideas could spring forth, transforming thought for generations. As you wander, you can almost hear whispers of debates, long past scholarly discussions, punctuated with the fruit of wisdom shared by those of different faiths. This was the seat of Akbar's Din-i-Ilahi, his religion of God, an enigmatic creed that sought to unify the spiritual teachings of diverse faiths while putting no one belief above another. It's one of history's great what-ifs. Would a true universal religion have been possible? Or was this an ideal that thrived only within the walls of this enlightened court? A slight breeze rustles through the open windows of the court, carrying with it the scent of jasmine from the gardens and distant echoes of music and laughter. You find a shaded corner where the court musicians softly play their melodies, weaving a seamless thread through this rich tableau of life. Here, Akbar had brought together masters from across the empire, encouraging them to create together, to find harmony, not just in music, but in the very way of life. As night falls, the atmosphere changes. The cool air beckons conversations around warm fires, kindled not just for heat, but for the warmth of human connection. You're reminded of stories of grand feasts, where poets, philosophers, and even jesters gathered around Akbar, exchanging stories and laughter. It was during these times that Akbar would share his thoughtful gaze, listening more than he spoke, a rare quality in a world often dominated by those who insist on having the first and last word. Historians still ponder the extent of Akbar's literacy. While some argue he was illiterate, relying on his remarkable memory to absorb and process vast amounts of information, others suggest he might have learned to read in secret. Yet whether he could read the words or only the hearts of people, his court was undeniably a place where stories came alive. In this tranquil aura, beneath the twinkling stars of the vast Mughal sky, you sense why people from all faiths would go to great lengths to stand in Akbar's presence. His curiosity was infectious, his wisdom a gentle guide through the complexities of human belief. His court was an idea, a place among the stars. that asked more questions than it answered. And like the first moments of dawn, you too feel part of this timeless quest for understanding, gently easing into a night filled with dreams of a possible harmony among the world's vast and beautiful diversity. As you find yourself enveloped in the gentle embrace of the night, let your thoughts drift toward a grand empire where the scent of sweet jasmine lingers in the air and the stars paint a tapestry above. Within the heart of this empire, a wise emperor sits in contemplation, surrounded by not only the dazzling splendor of a golden court, but also by the luminous clarity of 9 brilliant minds. These esteemed individuals are the famed Navaratnas, or 9 gems of Emperor Akbar's court, a collection of poets, musicians, mystics, and historians who glisten like stars around the thoughtful ruler, each contributing to the empire's legacy in unique and surprising ways. The year is somewhere in the late 16th century, though historians still debate the exact sequence of events that brought these 9 together under the ambitious Mughal ruler. Akbar, known for his fair skin and commanding presence, ruled India with both force and foresight. What set him apart from the tyrannical rulers of tales was his genius in hand-picking individuals whose talents could illuminate his court with unparalleled knowledge, artistry, and wisdom. Tonight, you are part of this magnetic world where intellect mingles with mystery. First among this illustrious group is the legendary Abul Fazl ibn Mubarak. You might recognize him as the mastermind behind one of the most compelling chronicles ever inked in India, the Akbarnama. More than just an historian, Abul Fazl was a statesman of impeccable grace, one whose words carried weight, just as his confident stride would across the ivory marble floors of Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar's planned city, and the epicenter of his rule. His work wasn't just about chronicling the glorified deeds of his emperor. It was meant to be a mirror for future generations, a reminder of what once was and what could be, just like a whispered story told under a canopy of stars. Then there was Birbal, officially known as Mahesh Das, whose legends transcend the domain of mere historical tales, echoing in every corner of the subcontinent even today. An advisor whose quick wit and eloquence matched his ability to entertain Birbal often found himself at the center of Akbar's intellectually rigorous court. His tales have grown to mythical proportions, with some stories recounting how he cleverly tricked merchants and courtiers alike. Yet specifics remain delightfully nebulous, leaving room for your imagination to wander into the nuances of his antics. Tansen, the celebrated musician, whose name is synonymous with celestial melodies that could bring rain to parched lands, or so the stories go, rests in this constellation of ingenuity. His voice was said to be so beautiful that it could move nature itself, drawing invisible lines of beauty across the span of Akbar's diverse empire. Historians claim that his Rag Darbari became the heartbeat of the court, resonating through every stone and soul that lay within its boundaries. You might not survive the allure of his musical genius, but thankfully this is bedtime and you are in a safe space. Now turn your gaze to the mystic side of the court. Faizi Abul Fazl's brother was a poet whose verses were as vibrant as the bird of paradise plumes scattered across Akbar's gardens. Infused with Sufi mysticism, his odes painted realms that transcended time and space, evoking both the spirit and the sensibilities of dreamers. Faizi's poetry, shimmering with the gentleness of a starlit night, sometimes leaves scholars divided on the depth of its allegories, each line a dance between word and wisdom. The court's illumination wouldn't be half as brilliant without the strategic brilliance of Raja Todar Mal, the finance minister who could seemingly turn lead into gold with his meticulous planning, and not just that tricky accounting magic you heard about in fairy tales. His contribution to tax and revenue reforms is legendary, known to bolster the empire's economy into a formidable entity. Even today, his methods of revenue collection bear a semblance to the economic systems that govern modern nations. Joining these titans, with a voice yet humble, is Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, a polyglot and patron of the arts, whose literary exploits are inscribed into the cultural tapestry of India. Able to turn the simplest turns of phrase into profound revelations, his couplets offered glimpses into the human and divine, the tangible and ethereal. Historians note his exceptional ability to connect languages, cultures, and hearts, a beacon of unity in a world divided. This vibrant assembly wouldn't be complete without the sage Mullah Dopiasa, whose humor and wisdom added a vibrant, humane quality to court life. His stories, often delivered with a characteristic twinkle in the eye, were known to prompt both laughter and reflection, a testament to the eternal power of humor in weaving together disparate threads of human experience. Then comes Fakir Aziauddin, a spiritual advisor whose insights tempered the mortal concerns of empire with the divine rhythms of transcendental thought. His presence is shrouded in tales of enigmatic dialogues, with the emperor often exploring the depths of spiritual paradigms that defy earthly bounds. Last but never least, Raja Man Singh, a trusted military commander faithful to the emperor while wielding a sword as skillfully as he navigated the intricacies of diplomacy. Though regarded as a fierce warrior, his strategic mind drew the empire's enemies into alliances, anchoring peace amid turbulence, and weaving a lasting legacy of valor and wisdom. As these nine gathered, each brought their brilliance forth, like tributaries that fuse into a mighty river. Underneath this magnificent assembly lay a shared purpose that transcended individual triumphs, a quest to illuminate a path of unity, peace, and prosperity under Akbar's enlightened rule. Their stories are woven, flowing seamlessly one into another, with each gem casting its own light, inviting you to dream of an empire where the mind was as revered as the might of a sword, and where nightly you could imagine reclining under an endless sky, where constellations whispered tales as old as time itself. Let the echoes of these nine exquisite minds dance gently through your dreams as you slip into a restful slumber that cradles your spirit with the same care as the stars cradle the night. Although you cannot read the weight of a manuscript in your hands, is something you've grown quite accustomed to. Each evening, dozens of them are brought forth, tiny worlds of ink and paper, collected under your reign, glittering in their wealth of ideas. As you settle in for the night, the gentle flicker of candlelight casts dancing shadows across the room, making the scene almost magical. Historians are still awed by your vast library, and some even wonder if it was the grandest collection of its time. Yet they often ponder how you, a ruler who couldn't read, became so deeply connected to this sea of words. Tonight, as you recline on plush cushions, one of the attendants begins to read aloud. The familiar rustle of turning pages fills the air, and you find yourself drifting not just into the story, but into the realm of an ancient empire. You've always had a knack for listening, for seeing beyond words, into the heart of the tale. It's a skill you've honed over countless stories, tales of far-off lands, heroic deeds, and whispered legends from times of yore. Your attendants, skilled and knowledgeable, fall into an easy rhythm. Their voices rise and fall like musical notes, capturing your attention and holding it steady. You listen intently, asking questions, and engaging with each tale as if negotiating a complex court matter. Each story demands your full attention, and you give it freely, soaking in every detail. Although you cannot decipher the script yourself, tonight's story awakens your imagination, drawing you vividly into the past. Sometimes you envision yourself as a character within these narratives, feeling the cool armor against your skin or the fierce desert winds on your cheeks. Other times you assume the role of a wise advisor, solving grand mysteries with nothing but your sharp wit and intuitive understanding. Tonight you are a warrior in the tales of old Persia, where stark mountains and vast deserts create boundaries that only the bravest dare to cross. It's not just picturesque, it's perplexing. A revered king and his legendary journey are woven into a tapestry of alliances, betrayals, and whispered secrets among the stars. The pages come alive, resonating with your heartbeat, as if the rhythm of history and your own pulse have synchronized. Forgotten cities and ghostly palaces rise before your mind's eye, their splendor hidden beneath centuries of dust and time. You see yourself striding through the cobbled streets, the weight of destiny on your shoulders. The surprise twist. It was a walnut shell that nearly brought a dynasty to collapse. Who would have imagined that such mundane objects could harbor such power? And then a story folds into another, like nesting dolls of narrative. Another tale unfolds, and tonight it's about a considerate emperor who loved nothing more than to ride through his gardens in disguise, mingling amongst his subjects. You see him adorned in common garb, listening to the voices of his people, breathing in the heady scent of jasmine and rose. It is said his greatest ally was not a blade, but the understanding gleamed from those visits, a fact still discussed by scholars who ponder the complexities of leadership. Even as your eyes grow heavy, you remain consumed by the tapestry of tales. The night carries on, and as each story intertwines with another, your mind cannot help but linger on the sheer breadth of human experience chronicled within your library. The flickering candlelight, the murmur of the reader's voice, and the ever-resilient scent of old parchment envelop you in an almost tangible cocoon of history. The essence of storytelling, suspense, curiosity, discovery breathes into life around you. The manuscript being read tonight continues to draw images vivid enough to touch, tugging at the strands of imagination woven tightly around your heart. For a moment, you let the boundaries between history and the present blur. The past seems Not just a collection of pages and ink, but a living entity with breath and pulse, transporting you even as you remain nestled in your chamber. Each night promises new journeys, and every story gifts you the world through the eyes of those who came before you. You listen captivated as the stories are read aloud, anchoring ancient wisdom in the present. The candlelight dims flickering, as if in approval of the tales told under its glow. The night holds the world in a single breath, and in its embrace you find comfort learning, and a passage into lives once lived, mysteries once spun. Akbar, the legendary Mughal emperor, stood on his vast balcony, his gaze drifting across the sprawling horizon. You feel his curiosity ripple through the air like a gentle breeze. There's a twinkle in his wise eyes, for Akbar, unlike any other ruler of his time, found himself pondering ideas beyond mere conquest and glittering palaces. He believed that a new kind of understanding could stitch together the disparate patches of his diverse empire's tapestry, a grand unifying faith that could bring together the myriad peoples under his rule. It was an era bubbling with religious zeal, where Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism danced in their own unique rhythms. You're standing there in his court, feeling the soft tickle of a long-lost possibility. Imagine Akbar's court, a place bustling with an eclectic assembly of scholars, philosophers, and spiritual leaders. There's an unusual calmness, a steady hum of potential that you find incredibly comforting. Akbar thought of this as his Ibadat Khana, or house of worship, a sanctuary of discussion where beliefs could interlace like threads in a rich Persian carpet. It's a place of unexpected harmony, reminiscent of a symphony, where each instrument plays its note, yet contributes to the grander melody. While Akbar's vision was grand, you might wonder if people truly flocked to this new faith he wished to weave. Historians are still sorting through the story's accounts, whisper that, although the faith didn't see large numbers convert, Akbar wasn't disheartened. His heart was set on harmony, not numbers. This was the surprising beauty of his mission somehow, knowing that ambitions do not always end in conquest, but can lead instead to peace. Picture, if you will, the vibrant discussions that sprouted here, sometimes heated, sometimes gentle, like a lullaby. There was a sense of freedom to speak a radical idea during times when disagreement often led to harsh consequences. Akbar listened intently, almost as if each voice was a note in the melody of his realm. This was no ordinary endeavor. It was a dream given life, but eloquently void of pomp and circumstance. You might chuckle at the thought. How did Akbar navigate such ambitious philosophical waters amidst the clash of religious titans? Well, typical of Akbar's vision, he was nothing if not pragmatic, delighting in the unusual practice of listening to the teachings of diverse faith leaders. It's said he immersed himself in learning a fact as delightful as the whispered tales of secret debates that flourished in the candlelit chambers of the Ibadat Khana. Historians spin tales of Akbar's spiritual journey with hints of mischief, musing on whether his motives were purely spiritual or grounded in a desire to maintain power. Yet perhaps such musings miss the heart of his story, the gentle understanding that sometimes it's less about what you achieve and more about the pathways you illuminate for others. As you bask in the soft glow of this story, imagine Akbar sitting cross-legged, his smile soft yet wise, probably enjoying one of those famed philosophical exchanges. What rings true is that Akbar carried a remarkable openness to new ideas, a rarity that served him like a secret map to treasure unknown. You feel the tension release, just as it would have in those ancient walls, where instead of fortification, conversation flourished. It doesn't matter whether Akbar succeeded in creating a new faith. After all, some seeds are planted for future ages to harvest. In this, his attempt stands as a gentle reminder that just like threadbare tapestries, mended with new fabric societies, can be woven together through understanding and acceptance. As the night deepens, you find yourself lulled by the profound silence which once resonated with diverse voices, each leaving echoes of their wisdom. There's comfort in knowing that, even in an age of swords and conquest, there were those like Akbar who dared to dream of a unity forged through the soft art of listening. So as you close your eyes, rocked by the soft historical lull of Akbar's vision, know that beneath layers of time and conquest, quieter aspirations weave their own kind of legend, a serene harmony for those ready to hear. You drift further embraced by a gentle world where once upon a time meets the tranquil possibilities of what could have been. As the first rays of dawn creep over the horizon, you find yourself gently awakened by the soft stirrings of the palace, a place reverberating with ancient whispers and the delicate gold-tinted glow of anticipation. It's a curious morning ritual that begins with a soft kind of magic almost invisible, but profoundly transformative. You rise in silence, the world still cloaked in the peaceful slumber of pre-dawn shadows. There's an inherent dignity in this solitude, a sense of duty and tradition that calls to you. As a king, your days often start long before most eyes have even opened, and today is no different. The ornate scales are prepared shimmering as the light peeks through the lattice decorated in motifs of a kingdom's heritage. You step forward barefoot against the cool marble of the grand hall. Each step a gentle echo of those who came before you. In an ancient tradition that straddles both ceremony and self-examination, you weigh yourself against gold. It's a remarkable sight, golden coins meticulously placed on one side while you balance the other. This weighing is not about material worth, but a ritual of humility and reflection. Here, gold signifies wealth that will soon be transformed into a beacon of hope. For the less fortunate, a charity of sorts, ensuring your wealth never stagnates or stifles your humanity. Historians still debate whether this was a symbolic action or a genuine practice, but its essence remains potent. With the scales balanced, you glance skyward. The heavens speak in a language of stars guiding your inner compass. You are not just a man tethered to the earth, but one led by the vast call of the cosmos. The sky is aglow with the promise of a new day. It teaches patience and imparts wisdom, its vastness instilling a humbling serenity within you. In moments like this, the demands of kingship feel momentarily suspended, caught in the tranquil cadence of celestial bodies. Just as you note the slow, graceful turns of distant constellations, a light breeze rustles the fragrant air through the open windows, filling the room with the scent of jasmine, a surprising smell carried from the palace gardens. It mingles with faint sounds of early bird songs, each note a gentle reminder of life, stirring all around from the smallest creature to your most loyal companion. As you stand there witnessing the gradual shift from night to day, you embody the quiet tether between the finite and the infinite, the solid ground supporting you, and the eternal sky offering its silent counsel. There's a sense that the world is vast, filled with mysteries and beauties you're both a part of and beholden to. This early solitude is a canvas for contemplation, a time to ponder the storied patterns of those stars and the destinies they chart. The balance of weight and wealth, the continuous conversation between earth and sky, forms a tapestry in which your own life thread is interwoven, guiding your reign with both strength and gentleness. So you linger in those moments just a bit longer, bathed in the dawning light, ready to meet the day, with the quiet power bestowed upon you by the stillness of the pre-dawn sky and the golden scales of your own heart's weighing. In the bustling heart of the grand city, you find yourself amidst the grandeur of the royal court, a place where history blends with myth, creating an atmosphere both mesmerizing and surreal. The air is thick with the aroma of spices, and the chatter of anticipation encircles you like a gentle, enveloping mist. As you step into the banquet hall, you notice hundreds of cooks tirelessly working at their craft. Their nimble fingers and focused gazes tell the story of countless hours spent perfecting their culinary masterpieces. You inhale deeply the scent of exotic spices swirling through the air, carried on a gentle breeze. This night, your senses are the canvas upon which history will paint a vibrant tableau. Each dish presented is a work of art, reflecting the rich tapestry of cultures that have woven themselves into the fabric of this opulent city. You taste the juicy Persian kebabs, tender and seasoned with just the right touch of cumin and coriander. It's not merely food, it's an edible story of distant lands and caravans, traversing sun-drenched deserts, carrying precious cargo back to the court. As you savor the blend of flavors, you realize that the heady scent of rosewater and saffron mingles with each dish, perfuming the atmosphere. It's said that these ingredients were once worth their weight in gold, and as they grace your palate, you appreciate their luxurious history, a history that speaks of the Silk Road and thriving trade routes that connected empires. Among the delicacies, you encounter a surprising treat that piques your curiosity: intricately crafted Hindu sweets. These are not just sweets, they're treasures of sugar and powdered nuts, delicate yet rich. You sample one, feeling the crunch of pistachios and almonds melt into a sweet milkiness that somehow feels like a hug from an ancient time. Historians still debate whether these sweets first emerged as intricate religious offerings or were simply a royal indulgence, but tonight they serve as an invitation to revisit a vibrant past. The grand hall echoes with laughter and music, creating a symphony that wraps you in warmth despite the uncertainty of history's whispers. The clinking of ornate goblets and the gentle rustling of vibrant silks form a comforting lullaby, guiding you further into the luxurious embrace of the evening. As you take a moment to gaze around you, notice just how effortlessly the flavors have woven themselves into the city's air. You can't escape their allure. They blanket the streets, drifting through courtyards and over rooftops, seeping into the dreams of those resting in the city below. Even as the stories of conquests and empires lay at your feet, it's the simple act of gathering around meals like these that offers a more intimate glimpse into the past. The pages of history might be inked with the rise and fall of kingdoms, but it's the flavor of saffron-touched rice and rose-scented air that tells you of vibrant lives once lived with passion and purpose. As the night wears on, you find solace in this culinary journey. It slows your pulse, softens the edges of your day, and invites you to rest. You lean back, feeling the comforting weight of history settle around your shoulders like a well-worn cloak. Here in this moment, you find repose, knowing that the stories of yesterday continue to cradle you gently into the night. Akbar often cloaked himself in anonymity as he wandered through the streets of his grand city, almost like a whisper floating through the night. His empire sprawled beneath him like a vast living painting, vibrant and full of life. Though he commanded a mighty army with 1,000 seasoned soldiers waiting on his command, there was a peculiar wisdom in his choice to walk these roads alone. You can almost picture him a shadow among shadows, slipping past food stalls that filled the air with exotic spices under the glow of lanterns that cast a warm, inviting glow. As you walk in, Akbar's sandals, imagine the thrill of being an emperor unnoticed, brushing past your subjects with an air of casual curiosity. What was it about these streets, these people, that drew him from the palace each night? Perhaps he sought a deeper connection to his realm, an understanding beyond what was visible from a gilded throne. Or maybe he relished the freedom of blending into the vibrant tapestry of his own empire. Sometimes he stopped to chat with a merchant about the quality of his wares, or exchanged friendly nods with a farmer returning from the market. It was during these moments that Akbar believed he could truly sense the pulse of his city, hear the unfiltered voice of his people. His ears were tuned not just to the melodic rhythm of their everyday conversations, but also to the subtler tones, the whispered worries and hushed hopes. It's worth noting, dear listener, that Akbar's love for this clandestine stroll wasn't merely born of curiosity. There was a deeper philosophy at play. In the annals of history, Akbar stands out as a ruler who prized understanding over imposition. Historians still debate whether these nightly excursions were purely strategic or if they carried a more profound personal significance. Akbar knew the stories and truths that his subjects shared were more valuable than any intelligence brought by spies or advisors. One story tells of a night when Akbar found himself standing on the edge of a lively bazaar. It was there he overheard a young boy recounting the tale of daring courtiers, their escapades woven with threads of both fact and fancy. The boy's animated gestures painted vibrant pictures in the night air, and Akbar watched, entranced by the unguarded truth in the child's eyes. It reminded him of the unvarnished reality that often eluded those who ruled from gilded confines. But even an emperor could not ignore the shadows of uncertainty. Were these stories one-off tales or reflections of deeper truths? It was a question that lingered in Akbar's mind, like the faint echo of a distant drumbeat. In this dance through shadow and light, Akbar's adventures weren't just about the bustling evening markets or the stories whispered under moonlit skies. It was also about the discoveries that lay beneath the surface. The trust he placed in his people was a testament to his belief in them as the true strength of his empire, even more steadfast than the sharpest swords or the sturdiest shields. To walk as Akbar did in disguise and mingling with such absolute faith in the unseen, you would need more than mere courage. It required an openness to surprises hidden in everyday moments. Remember how the mighty emperor with entire battalions under his command felt content, walking amidst his subjects, heart unarmed but open, trusting implicit connections to keep his spirit fortified. Yet, as you find yourself entangled in this imaginative journey with Akbar, don't forget to enjoy where his tale leads you next. Historians might say his efforts to understand common life without the lens of privilege were radical. Others might call it pragmatic. For you, though, it feels like adventure and wonder, wrapped inside the gentle, soothing tones of bedtime stories, whispered on a soft breeze, inviting you deeper into a restful night. The stories continue winding around you like a cozy blanket, unspooling with each turn of the alley, each whispered word, making you a silent companion in Akbar's eternal night journey. In the heart of the Mughal Empire, during the reign of the great Emperor Akbar, you find yourself amidst lush gardens that seem endless. The air is filled with the rich fragrance of jasmine, and the gentle rustling of leaves whispers stories of the past. You walk along the intricately laid pathways, the earth cool beneath your feet, as glimpses of vibrant peacock feathers flash amidst the foliage. The grandiosity of Akbar's court is palpable, as if the very air hums with the energy of centuries-long stories. But what truly captivates you are the parrots flitting in radiant bursts of green and gold. They are not merely decorative creatures or casual pets. No, these parrots are performers in a most unexpected spectacle. Trained with the precision and dedication of court musicians or dancers, they recite Persian poetry. Yes, you heard that right. Parrots reciting verse. The melodic cadence of their performance feels otherworldly, each syllable a tiny declaration of mastery over nature's gifts. The parrot's talent isn't restricted to poetry alone. They are also adept mimics, expertly reproducing snippets of court gossip, much to the amusement and at times chagrin of their royal audience. Historians still debate whether Akbar himself found this talent delightful or slightly unnerving. Imagine fragments of your most secret musings rhythmically repeated from above, a perplexing mix of wonder and dread. The garden paths lead you deeper into this veritable paradise, where the boundaries between the natural and the cultivated blur, creating a harmonized tableau of serenity and grandeur. You pause to take in the sights and sounds, losing yourself in the serenity of the moment. Just then, a parrot swoops down, taking its rightful place on a branch nearby and begins to recite. Its voice is clear and sweet, weaving the rhythm of Persian couplets into the very fabric of the garden's sighing breezes. You learn that these birds have been part of the court since Akbar's time, trained with patience by skilled bird handlers who use song repetition and perhaps tiny morsels of rewards. The most prestigious of the birds are chosen for their clarity and ability to charm their audience, a feathered troupe of avian actors. Not only do the parrots amuse, but they also serve as an emblem of the empire's rich confluence of cultures. Akbar's reign is marked by such vibrant syncretism, a blending of diverse cultures, languages, and ideas, a patchwork that defines the unique identity of his empire. You imagine how guests noble and learned alike must have marveled at these performances, where birds spouted verse with ease, a small gesture, yet reflective of the grand ambition to unite and celebrate diversity. As the evening descends upon the expansive gardens, the fading light casts a golden hue on the vibrant foliage, and the peacocks, those enigmatic striders, begin their evening promenade. You decide to wander back through this verdant wonder, your thoughts echoing the laughter of poets and the wisdom of empires past. With the show of the skies above and the natural symphony around, you can't help but feel reminded of the tales you've heard of Akbar's forward-thinking rule, how he encouraged culture, debate, art, and expression in all forms, even those channeled through the lilting voices of parrots. It's a whimsical reminder. While humans seek immortality in stone and ink, nature finds its own way to join the conversation through feathers, flight, and song. Every Thursday evening in the grand halls of Emperor Akbar's court, an extraordinary event would unfold. You find yourself there, surrounded by dimly lit lanterns, casting delicate shadows on the ornate walls. The faint aroma of sandalwood drifts through the room, and the soft hum of intrigued whispers wraps around you like a warm blanket. The room is teeming with anticipation as scholars from all walks of life gather for yet another night of spirited debate. They've come dressed in the finest silks and cottons, comprised of vibrant colors that reflect the diversity of the faiths they champion. You can almost feel the pulse of excitement in the air, vibrating with the promise of new ideas and perspectives. These debates, didn't just stem from a desire to battle words, but from Akbar's vision of fostering understanding and unity. It was said that Akbar, the great Mughal emperor, had an insatiable curiosity. Unlike many rulers of his time who were focused solely on conquest and power, Akbar sought to conquer ignorance itself. Historians still debate whether these discussions genuinely changed political strategies or merely served as intellectual entertainment. But one thing is clear: their legacy is unmistakable. As the wooden doors creak open, tapestries shift slightly from the evening breeze. An old man with a long white beard enters, carrying a tattered leather book tucked under his arm. His presence alone commands attention. He's one of the most respected scholars of the time, with a wit as sharp as a scimitar. You might think it would be easy to get lost in the crowd of brilliant minds, yet this evening everyone finds a voice. Akbar himself is seated on a plush carpet surrounded by an elegantly carved wooden balustrade. His eyes dart eagerly from speaker to speaker, his mind a perpetual whirl of questions. Tonight's discussion is laced with themes of spirituality and the essence of the divine. An ambitious endeavor indeed. It's almost comforting how even in a historical setting as regal as this, some things never change. Watch closely and you might catch Akbar fidgeting with his ring, just like a student caught in the throes of a captivating lecture. The debates unfold not as harsh quarrels, but as a refined exercise in rhetoric and philosophy. The room oscillates between passionate declarations and serene contemplation, the voices rising like birds in the early morning sky, only to settle again in respectful silence. One scholar, a young woman with eyes bright as stars, presents a poem she's penned, each verse intertwining divine concepts with echoes of her rich cultural heritage. Her words paint vivid images, and you can almost see the gods themselves leaning in to listen. As you soak in this tapestry of intellectual pursuit, you catch the glint of something you hadn't expected, a faded scar on one scholar's hand, a subtle reminder that even those blessed with wisdom have weathered life's trials. And it's here you realize not all knowledge is born of peaceful contemplation. Some is forged in adversity's relentless forge. The evening progresses, fueled by cups of honey-sweetened chai being circulated by silent servants. Each sip warms you from the inside, a counterpoint to the cool, serene night beyond these storied walls. It's one of those nights where time slips through your fingers like fine silk, almost unnoticed. The dialogue is both spirited and respectful, like waves caressing the shore, sometimes crashing, sometimes retreating, but always returning anew. And just as you settle into the rhythm of the discourse, a heated question brews about the nature of truth. It sparks a fervent exchange between two older scholars, their gestures animated, yet faces lined with respect. Tonight their dialogue dips and soars like a song blending wisdom with just a hint of friendly ribbing, and no one can quite determine who has the upper hand. There are moments when the room fills with laughter, the kind that reverberates against the arched ceilings and dances through history. Just like that, you find yourself caught up in this rich tapestry of knowledge and respect. It's a scene you perhaps hope never to leave, like an unforgettable dream that lingers long after you awake. As the grand night draws to a close, and the scholars retreat to their own thoughts and paths, the air holds the echo of shared truths and discovered insights. The debates, though over for now, have left a lingering curiosity. It's as if threads of conversation remain suspended in the air, waiting to be picked up and woven into the next Thursday's night of discourse. The flickering lights are dimmed further, the soft rustle of withdrawing footsteps, and the gentle clinking of tidied teacups, the only sounds remaining. It's almost haunting how the echoes of their words linger still, whispering promises of tomorrow's mysteries, yet unraveled. You allow yourself to be gently swept away by the melodic cadence of silence that now reigns. In this final hour, even the frenzied intellectuals cannot resist the embrace of tranquility. Everyone you included feels a transformative shift beneath the surface, a seamless melding of cultures, a unity born of diversity. And so, as the night folds its arms around you, the story of Akbar's court enters your dreams, a testament to the enduring power of dialogue and the endless quest for understanding. Akbar, the great ruler of the Mughal Empire, believed in no swords and no unnecessary bloodshed, for he wielded another kind of weapon, his mind. You find yourself walking with him in the fertile lands of India during the 16th century. Imagine the vast fields stretching endlessly with rich, dark soil, a fully loaded heave of ripe crops swaying in the gentle breeze. You probably won't survive the intensity of such an era with its untamed chaos. But there's a surprising tranquility in Akbar's realm. The scene Akbar, with his deep-set eyes full of intent curiosity, talking to farmers with a listening patience that you wouldn't expect from a ruler. His hands, uncluttered by the weight of armor, are instead busy marking figures on an earthen tablet, tracing patterns that only the sharp-minded could decipher. This isn't the battlefield of clashing swords, but a world shaped by numbers and humane governance. See the farmers around him in their simple garb, nodding as they speak. Their truths fill the air like a gentle breeze. Each farmer brings a story, a need, a grievance, or just the burdens of their daily toil. Akbar listens, weighing every word, understanding their struggles, and valuing their toils like gems. His radical idea, taxes not as a punishment, but as a fair share to maintain their world. Historians revel in debates over Akbar's real genius. Was it his military conquests, or instead his masterstroke in reforming the empire's soul? Through fairness, Akbar's reforms were groundbreaking. He didn't demand what the land couldn't provide. He based taxes on the average productivity of the soil, carefully calculated over time, ensuring farmers contributed what they could afford. This took patience and care, a stark contrast to the might is right approach of his contemporaries. Surprisingly, Akbar's fairness stretched even further. He abolished certain heavy taxes that had for so long burdened the empire's non-Muslim subjects, integrating them more peacefully into his realm. His policy, known as sulh-i-kul, peace with all, aimed for tolerance and harmony across his diverse empire. Who would have thought a ruler choosing the pen over the sword by listening to the whispers of the wind through fields? In this moment, you witness a serene revolution, one that the historians still debate. Was this merely practical governance, a necessary compromise? Or did it stem from Akbar's own vision for unity amongst his people? The answer may never be definitive, but the echoes of his gentle yet firm leadership resonate even in this gentle night. As you wander through this serene yet complex landscape of history carried by Akbar's reforms, you appreciate how numbers ruled over swords. Akbar didn't just change the tax code. He changed how rulers governed by showing that even the mighty can be just and fair. And as the stars begin to twinkle above, casting their silver gaze down upon the empire, you feel the soothing pull of rest and reflection. The rich tales of Akbar's rule, from fairness to strength, unfold like a lullaby under the night sky, inviting you to ponder the power of listening and the elegance of justice. Let these tales gently cradle you into dreams of harmony. The Mughal miniatures you see were not just paintings, but portals to another realm. As you find yourself walking through the serene corridors of time, you discover that each carefully painted image contains within it the essence of an entire universe. It's under the reign of the great Akbar, known for his patronage of the arts, that these miniatures thrive, bursting with vibrant colors and delicate gold ink that shimmer under unseen rays of light. As you stroll through this gallery of dreams, you feel an otherworldly warmth emanating from the paintings. The vibrant reds and intricate blues dance in your vision with an otherworldly glow, whispering stories of fearless hunts across the wild plains. Each scene is depicted with such precision that you can almost hear the rustle of leaves and the roar of the animals. The hunts, they say, were not just sport, but a test of skill and honor, a testament to the Mughal fascination with the hunt and the beauty of nature in its untamed form. But the miniatures are more than mere reflections of reality. Look closely and you'll see tales of celestial beasts, creatures of myth that traveled through dreams akin to spirit guides, leading one through the twilight. Imagine this, a royal tiger, its eyes reflecting the cosmos companion to a king in his midnight visions. Fascinatingly, historians still debate whether Akbar himself had dreams vivid enough to claim encounters with such beasts, or whether these are only figments of an artist's imagination. Scrutinize yet another painting, one where a regal figure reclines, surrounded by shimmering peacocks with emerald plumage. Each feather glistens as if touched with sunlight, and you wonder about the precision required to capture such delicacy with a mere brush. As you gaze, you can't help but speculate about the amount of time the artist spent immersed in this world, turning each brushstroke into a labor of love. Perhaps, as some scholars argue, the artists were not just painting for the emperor, but for an audience of one themselves, lost in the realm they created. Now your attention is drawn to a depiction of vivid dreams, a canvas where landscapes transform with the whims of the wandering mind. Did Akbar wander into these domains as he slept? Or were these whimsical worlds merely idealizations of peace and prosperity? It's hard to say, but it surely adds to the allure, doesn't it? Like holding on to the faint memory of a dream just before it slips away with the dawn. These paintings are not only artworks, but storytellers whispering about a time where culture, imagination, and reality merged seamlessly. And even though you're only an observer standing here in the present, these visual narratives invite you to step closer, to touch the nearly tangible dreams of the past. While some things remain uncertain, and despite differing interpretations by historians and art lovers alike, one thing is clear: these miniatures, with their exquisite detailing, were intended to transport you into a realm of delicate beauty and grandiose dreams. Just like the finer details of life that you encounter, you know that moment you notice the iridescent trickle of sunlight through tree leaves, or the secret tremor of joy hiding beneath a child's giggle. Those little shards of experience are just like the gold inks of a Mughal miniature. The Emperor Akbar, visionary that he was most likely, understood the power of art to connect and communicate. Perhaps he smiled, knowing that these visual stories of hunts, celestial beasts, and intricate dreams would captivate far beyond what words could achieve. There's magic in that, don't you agree? You feel a quiet contentment as you continue to wander through these vibrant worlds captured in tiny frames. They're not just paintings, they're conversations with the past, inviting you to lean in and listen closely. As you walk, you realize that just like these artistic whispers, night brushes over day seamlessly, and stories, much like dreams, float in the silent ether waiting to be discovered. The sun had barely begun to cast its warm light over the city when a distant rumble disturbed the tranquil morning. You'd been dozing by the window of your little room, where the soft rays barely touched your face. As the sound grew louder, your curiosity got the better of you and you found yourself peeking out. There it was, a massive elephant rampaging through the dusty streets, its heavy feet disrupting the calm of the dawn. The air buzzed with shouts and cries as people hurried to make way for the mighty creature. You can almost feel the vibrations under your feet, much like standing too close to a thunderous waterfall. If only this was a daydream from which you could wake up with a yawn. Amid the chaos, a figure emerged, standing tall and resolute. It was Emperor Akbar, known not just for his wisdom, but also for his courage. Legend tells that during his reign, Akbar often displayed acts of bravery that seemed larger than life. Today would be one of those days etched in memory. Without hesitation, he made his way towards the stables, where yet another elephant waited. This one was a gentle giant, as old tales claimed, given as a gift from a distant land. Akbar approached it with the confidence only a bond forged over years could inspire. Historians often wonder how one man could command such trust from a beast. But there Akbar was climbing atop the mighty creature, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. With a mere nudge and a whispered command, the elephant lumbered forward, its enormous form contrasting its gentle movements. Your heart might skip a beat as you imagine yourself in his place. Alone facing a wild creature, Akbar seemed small against the backdrop of unfolding chaos. But courage, invisible yet palpable, seemed to shimmer around him like the morning haze. The rampaging elephant, its eyes wild and fearful, charged forward, unyielding in its path of destruction. But Akbar, calm and undeterred, matched its course. There's something profoundly humbling watching an emperor, one who could command armies with a wave of his hand, armed with nothing but his presence and the tranquil strength of his mount. As they closed the distance, the world held its breath. It's the kind of moment that stretches time, like a held note in a gentle melody. Akbar's voice rose above the clamor, low and steady. He spoke to the panicked beast not in shouts or commands, but with tones that suggested stories of old, whispered under moonlit nights. Historians debate whether he used words or the deeper language of silence, one beyond the comprehension of most. Surprising though it may be, the rampaging elephant started to slow. Its massive head turned slightly more curious now than frantic. There's an unexpected grace in the way it responded, much like the quiet acceptance shared between two old friends. You get the sense that in those moments, nothing existed, neither fear nor power, except mutual understanding. Finally, the two colossal creatures came to a halt, standing face to face. Akbar gently reached out his hand, an arc of peace, against the towering frame of the beast. Silence cascaded like a sweet lullaby over the gathered crowd, washing away the tension. A collective sigh of relief swept through the people as the elephant, once frenzied, now stood docile. It's surprising how quickly fear can dissolve into calm, much like how dawn lightens the weight of night. The crowd erupted into a muted cheer, mindful of the spell of serenity still enveloping the scene. Akbar, with a modest nod, acknowledged their joy but took little credit for his deed. Just another day in the life of an emperor, after all. As the city resumed its rhythm, you imagine yourself wandering those streets, touched by the magic of the moment. It's almost like stepping through a painting, vivid, yet serene. You're left pondering what gave Akbar his unwavering courage. Was it a secret knowledge of the world, passed down through generations, or simply the understanding that sometimes the greatest strength is found in the quiet moments of resolve? Much like the comforting routine of bedtime stories where tales end in peace, Akbar's venture concluded with harmony restoring its reign. It's a reminder of how even the largest beasts, like our greatest fears, can be tamed with gentle bravery. In that, there's a tranquility that lulls you into restfulness, as secure as the sun sets its hold over the day. And as you settle back, feeling the soft hum of the world rebalancing the story, begins to merge into the coziness around you, leaving behind the echo of calm, the lightness of peace, and the comfort that comes from knowing one need not face life's uncertainties alone. He often asked philosophers, what lies beyond the stars, not in conquest but in wonder? A ruler who ruled with questions. As you sit by the campfire, the night sky above twinkles with an infinite number of stars. Your mind wanders to the tales of a ruler whose kingdom thrived not on the might of swords, but on the curiosity and wisdom born from endless questions. This ruler, known far and wide for his insatiable curiosity, often pondered over the mysteries of the universe. His most frequent inquiry posed to wise philosophers of his realm was a simple yet profound question: what lies beyond the stars? The philosophers gathered in his grand hall adorned with ornate tapestries and the marks of 1,000 journeys would convene to discuss the possibilities. While others might have sought expansion of territories or amassed vast riches, this ruler found joy in the exploration of thought, the unknown boundaries of the mind. In this hallowed space, a meeting of great minds occurred where questions were the measure of all things. Historians still debate whether this curiosity-driven reign had a true counterpart in history, or was merely an allegorical tale used to inspire the young in times long past. Nonetheless, the appeal of such a story lies not in concrete facts, but in the exploration of what might have been. The ruler's name was never written in annals as a conqueror nor as a tyrant. Rather, he lived on in stories as the benevolent leader who valued the illumination of wisdom over the shadows of ignorance. You imagine him standing on a grand balcony, gazing up at the stars, each one a tiny point of light in the vast darkness, each a question waiting to be asked. There's a theory suggesting that the ruler's fascination with the stars led him to commission a great observatory, a feat of craftsmanship, that would become the wonder of the ancient world. Unlike the cold stone of fortresses or the gilded spires of temples, this observatory was crafted with intent to peer into the cosmos and explore the nature of existence itself. It was here under the dome of the starry night that scholars from many lands would gather. They brought with them scrolls of ancient knowledge, strange instruments that whispered of complex calculations, and celestial maps detailing the journeys of the stars through the heavens. A peculiar detail that always caught the interest of new arrivals was the observatory's foundation stones said to sing when struck, a mystery never quite solved, and often laughed about over cups of spiced wine. One canonical historical fact known is how ancient astronomers, like those gathered here, charted the movement of stars and planets with incredible precision long before the technology of today could confirm their calculations. Yet even with such knowledge, the question of what lies beyond the stars remained elusive. Interestingly, this passion for knowledge had a ripple effect across the kingdom. Farmers began to observe the stars to predict the seasons better. Sailors mapped new territories by reading the stars during the night. A testament to how one ruler's wonder could inspire practical innovations for his people. The ruler would often join these astronomers, draped in robes embroidered with constellations. On nights when the air was crisp and the skies clear, he would take a seat among them, not as a king demanding answers, but as a student eager to learn. Sometimes he would tell them of dreams, dreams where he floated among the stars, each one a beacon, guiding him toward the truths of the universe. Yet the answers to the ruler's question remained as distant as the stars themselves. The philosophers debated and theorized, some suggesting realms of the gods, others proposing infinite voids. One evening, an old philosopher with a twinkle in his eye suggested that perhaps beyond the stars lay more questions, an endless horizon for the curious mind. Despite the uncertainty surrounding what truly lay beyond, the ruler found solace not in the answers, but in the question itself. This inquiry into the unknown became the backbone of his reign. It encouraged a culture where questions were encouraged, and knowledge was treasured more dearly than gold. So as you sit there under the vast net of constellations, you can feel the spirit of this ruler asking you to look up and wonder. The stars, timeless and constant, invite you to ponder their mysteries, as he once did. The night air is crisp, and the fire crackles softly, turning the pages of this unwritten history as your heart swells with questions of your own. This lullaby of curiosity hums gently in the background of your consciousness, encouraging you to drift off into dreams where you too sail among the stars, accompanied by the eternal question, what lies beyond? And as the night embraces you, you find comfort in the unknown, carried gently along a river of stars, guided by the ruler's inquisitive spirit. The room is unusually quiet, an oppressive stillness that settles like a dense fog. You sense the weight of loss in the air, tangible and heavy, pressing against your chest. The palace, normally a bustling hub of activity, is hushed. You move through the corridors feeling as if you walk among shadows. In the heart of this stillness sits Akbar, the great Mughal emperor, Yet you see him not in the grandeur with which history often paints figures of his stature. Instead, you see him as a man, a father hunched over in grief. His tears fall freely, each drop rippling from the depths of a sorrow that runs far deeper than political alliances or royal expectations. The loss of his son, Prince Daniel, has carved a profound absence in his heart, a void that neither empire nor fortune can fill. Akbar's lament is whispered from the walls, a soft, haunting echo. You feel it, the pain of a parent forced to bury their child. History tells us that Akbar's reign was marked by expansion and cultural enrichment. He was a patron of the arts and a vanguard of religious tolerance. Yet historians still debate whether Daniel, with his artistic leanings and compassionate nature, inherited these qualities from his father or forged them from his own life experiences. Amidst the echoes of mourning, you find yourself transported back to scenes of Daniel's brief yet vibrant life. He was a spirited youth widely adored for his charm and intelligence. He had a powerful physique and was known for his passions. But it's the quieter moments that stand out in your mind's eye, the way he passionately appreciated poetry, perhaps a reflection of Akbar's own love for literary pursuits. You see him in his cherished space, bending over a manuscript, words weaving through his thoughts like delicate threads. Despite his potential, Daniel struggled with his own demons. You learn of his battles with addiction, a delicate topic that the court could not openly discuss, yet acknowledged in hushed tones behind closed doors. Some suggest it was these struggles that led to his early demise. The cause remains a whispered uncertainty among scholars, leaving a trail of questions unanswered, curiosity that lingers like an unresolved chord. The courtiers tiptoe around the grieving emperor, their heads bowed with respectful silence. In a gentler, kinder world, their presence might have offered solace. Yet this is a world ruled by protocol and expectation, where even in mourning, an emperor is bound to his role. You see Akbar's pain mirrored in those around him, the shared sorrow enveloping them all in its quiet embrace. As you wander through your thoughts guided by the spirit of empathy, you realize the complexity of Akbar's public and personal lives. His leadership was defined by a mosaic of cultural inclusivity and significant reforms. He is credited with abolishing the jizya tax on non-Muslims and advocating for dialogue among different religious communities. In these moments, you wonder if Daniel, had he lived longer, might have inherited his father's vision of unity, perhaps even expanded it in ways unforeseen by the world. Your journey through this poignant tapestry of history reminds you of the profound intersection of public duty and private life. Each element weaves into a rich narrative, a reminder that stories are never singular. They are built from layers, each one revealing something new, something unseen. As the sun gently sets beyond the palace walls, painting the sky in hues of soft gold and pink, Akbar's tears merge with the fading light. The glow of dusk wraps the world in its comforting embrace. Despite the sorrow, there is a softness to the evening, a reminder of the cyclical nature of time, the promise of dawn that follows even the darkest nights. Here in this serene moment, you take a deep breath, letting it fill your lungs and release slowly. The calm settles in a tranquility that feels like it could hold you forever. Whether you stand on the quiet paths of Akbar's palace or in the sanctuary of your own imagination, you find peace in the spaces between history's vast stories, a place where all things must rest, where the heart's burden is folded into the night. You stroll alongside Emperor Akbar as he takes in one of the last warm breezes of the day, the sun setting over the sprawling Mughal gardens. The air is fragrant with jasmine, their sweet scent mingling with the earthy aroma of the freshly turned soil. You can almost hear the laughter that once echoed through these pathways, the clattering of jeweled bracelets and the hushed murmurs of courtly intrigue, the kind whispered behind fluttering fans. During his reign, Akbar transformed these gardens into a paradise on earth, an earthly counterpart to the divine heaven he hoped to help create. Though once teeming with advisors, poets, and musicians, each eager to earn a favor or share a story, the gardens are now a sanctuary of peace. Peacocks parade through the manicured lawns, their brilliant feathers shimmering like jewels in the dwindling light. It's said that Akbar used to train peacocks to dance to the sitar, though historians still debate whether this was simply colorful folklore or an emperor's whimsy turned reality. Pause a moment to feel the tranquility of this place. The gardens hold centuries within their leaves, each rustle a whisper of days gone by. Akbar was a man of many contrasts, strong, yet curious, commanding, yet reflective. Even in these quieter days, his mind wanders through the elegant twists and turns of philosophy and art. Your steps follow his as you walk quietly on the path, aligned with the hush that settled over the empire. Picture this: Akbar turning towards the horizon, eyes reflecting the colors of the sunset, trailing thoughts of a life lived large and yet grounded by little curiosities. He could discourse on the virtues of a fine brushstroke or the nuances of a sitar's twang, but just as keenly he'd ponder the flight of a butterfly spiraling upwards like hope itself. And though Akbar was known for his grand visions, his fate-altering, unifying moves, the simple pleasures never ceased to bring him joy. When you tilt your head, the distant echoes of music seem to resurface, notes painted on the wind, a melody of centuries long gone. They remind you of the nights when court musicians would play and the emperor would listen beneath the starlit sky, contemplating his legacy and dreaming of unity in a realm thrumming with diversity. In your mind's eye, walk through the life of this great leader who challenged norms with both fire and gentility. Consider the Ibadat Khana, the house of worship which he built as a forum for debating religious matters. Historians still ponder whether it was purely an intellectual pursuit that spurred Akbar's tolerance, or whether a deeper spiritual curiosity drove his interest in different faiths. Yet, through each debate held in that storied hall, he planted seeds of acceptance across his empire. The tale of Akbar is woven with threads of compassionate governance and visionary change. But in these final days of peace, you find solace in the quiet longevity of the gardens. They speak louder than the clang of swords or the grand ekphrastic palaces, testifying to the empire's enduring cultural vibrancy. As you continue walking alongside Akbar, there's an unusual detail that stands out amidst the traditional elegance of his life: an aspect as colorful as the garb of the nobles themselves. It's whispered that beneath his regal layers, Akbar had a fondness for vibrant socks, favoring hues as vivid as peacock plumage. Such whimsical memories paint a rich tapestry of a ruler who embraced both the profound and the playful, leaving an impression as strong and lasting as his legacy. The gardens themselves become a metaphor for Akbar's reign, blooming in vibrant diversity, a testament to his inclusive rule and natural affinity for beauty in all its forms. Cross under the arched trellises touch the textured fan of palm leaves, each one a reminder of the multifaceted empire he nurtured. The gentle music of history plays on, beckoning you to savor each note, even as it fades gently into the night, a musical lullaby inviting peaceful rest. As you step deeper into the story, imagine the echoes of history guiding you towards the grand edifice of Akbar's tomb, a place where time stands still and the whispers of a bygone era linger in the air. The tomb is an architectural marvel, its majestic facade adorned with intricate patterns, telling tales of a ruler who was at one time the heartbeat of a vast empire. Born in 1542, the Mughal Emperor Akbar reigned with a vision that transcended mere conquest. Historians often argue over his methods. Was he just another conqueror or a visionary ahead of his time? One thing remains certain. His legacy is woven into the very fabric of Indian history, not just in stone, but in laws and tales that have trickled down through generations. As you wander through the gardens surrounding Akbar's final resting place, the scents of marigold and tuberose filling the cool night air evoke memories of an empire that was a brilliant tapestry of cultures and religions. Akbar's spirit lingers in the lush greenery, like incense softly drifting after a prayer. This aroma signals his dream of uniting diverse peoples under a common sky, capturing the essence of unity in diversity. Akbar's tomb stands as a testament to his love for architecture and art, designed in a style inspired by a blend of Hindu and Muslim traditions, reflecting his famed policy of religious tolerance. Though towering and grand, the tomb is enveloped in a serenity that comforts those who seek its shelter. Yet not everything about Akbar was peaceful negotiations and splendid edifices. Tales suggest he once kept a collection of rare animals, including cheetahs, trained for hunting, a surprising detail that paints a more textured picture of the emperor. These animals cared for with great attention reflect a time when royalty forged connections with the creatures roaming the earth. And within Akbar's court, he cultivated a group of 9 extraordinary men called the Navaratnas, or 9 jewels, who personified the peak of intellectual and artistic achievement. Among them was the legendary poet Tansen, whose melodies, it is said, could light lamps and bring rain. These tales, laced with a hint of the supernatural, are etched deeply into the cultural memory of a land where myth and history are inextricably linked. As you thread these ancient paths, you feel the echoes of footsteps long past each step, a page in the endless story of an emperor who once dared to dream of a new world. Akbar's vision was one where faiths were bridges, not barriers. His concept of din-i Ilahi, though short-lived, remains a curiosity for historians who ponder over its true intent, a symbol of unity or political maneuver. The gardens give way to inner chambers, and with each step, candle-lit shadows dance across walls inscribed with verses from the Quran, their words still a balm to troubled souls. These walls have absorbed centuries of laughter debates and the quiet moments of solitude of those who came seeking inspiration or refuge within their embrace. In these halls, you can't help but consider Akbar's legacy, a ruler who signified the dawn of a new age. His spirit meanders not only through the grand tales of conquest and governance, but also through the intimate stories shared under the cool shade of trees. His hands may have planted stories of kindness and justice whispered among elders to wide-eyed children at dusk. It's in these stories that Akbar's true legacy lies, the parables that portray a king who sat with village mothers to understand their struggles, or donned a disguise to walk among his subjects to hear their truths. It's as if in these quiet moments of truth-telling, his spirit still softly guides, almost asleep but ever present. The night deepens, and a soft breeze rustles through the jasmine, a perfumed reminder of the past blending with the night air. Each corner of Akbar's tomb echoes with the lullaby of history, soothing those who venture into its embrace. It's a melody of the past and a reminder that even great rulers leave behind traces that can never truly fade away. And so, under the stars that sprawl across the endless sky, you find solace in knowing that the spirit of Akbar still breathes, woven into the lands he once ruled. As you trace your way back through the tranquil corridors of this grand mausoleum, the night welcomes you with its embrace. A cloak of celestial wonder that invites dreams to wander freely beneath ancient whispers. Now, as you prepare to drift into rest, the tale of Akbar and his timeless vision rocks you gently along. The emperor's legacy sways in a delicate dance as threads of his story weave through your mind, leaving you to wonder about the dreams that await on the horizon of sleep. The distant call of history bids you good night, lulling you into the tender embrace of solace, where you'll find comfort under the watchful gaze of time itself.